There's one thing about COVID that has been so good for Jessica Somm. The Workers' Compensation Board allowed her to see her therapist and her psychiatrist via telehealth. It put her on a path where she sees a future beyond being the Chillis Survivor.
I'm trying to finish up getting my bachelor's so that I can go on to get my master's as a nurse practitioner. I'd love to be a therapist to help some more people like me. I think that people that understand it the best can be the best advocate for others, because if you don't know it, you don't know it. If you don't know how this feels, don't imagine how it feels.
Before the pandemic, telehealth represented less than 1% of care for mental health concerns. And at its pandemic peak, Kaiser Family Health reports it was 40% of all visits.
I mean, I still have my days where leaving the house is a challenge. So if I need to switch my appointment instead of going into his office, he's totally fine with doing it virtually because he knows that I still have days where I don't want to get out.
Jessica and many others are puzzled and upset by a regulation the State Workers' Compensation Board is looking to change. It wants to require every third visit be in person. Her psychiatrist is in Binghamton. The therapy provided is working, and so are the meds prescribed by the doctor. Forcing her to go in person would be a burden, she says.
It would be really, really hard for me. How would I get my medication? What if I couldn't go see my therapist because he had COVID or I had COVID or whatever else happens? If I couldn't go see him every week, that would be really hard. So, I mean, who knows what could happen I don't want to think about it, and I'm hoping that maybe they start to use their head and not do this horrible thing to people.
The attorneys who have been working Jessica's compensation case since just after the murders at the Chili's restaurant say a change forcing psychologically injured clients into in-person visits could be catastrophic for some. And they claim it's all about money. Workers' comp cases are built on reports from doctors. No visit, no report, no payout. Bethany Nicoletti is an attorney on Jessica's team.
Certainly with orthopedic injuries, a physical examination is important. But that's not true for a psychological injury. There's no distinction in this law for psychological conditions. You don't need to physically examine somebody to help them cope with a mental condition.
If these people don't have anyone else besides their therapist to talk to, yeah, they could probably go in a fairly dark spot. I 1,000% understand that, because at the beginning of this, yeah, I went into a pretty dark spot where that could have been a possibility for sure. Because it took a long time to find a therapist to begin with, because workers' comp is very complicated with that. Not many providers take it to begin with. So when you find one that you can go to and they're willing to do the virtual stuff, that's pretty terrible for workers' comp to take that away from them.